all right. What is going on? And welcome to another episode of It's Nothing Personal, Just Buffalo. I am host JTM. I got my co-host in the building with me, former NFL running back James Mallory. And we reiterate soon to be Hall of Fame inductee James Mallory, as that date's approaching fast to be inducted to the Central Connecticut State University Football Hall of Fame, Immortality.
Athletic Hall of Fame, not just football, the
Oh yeah,
Athletic Hall of Fame.
athletic. Let me get that right.
Yeah, I'm
Athletic
proud
Hall
of
of
that.
Fame, Immortality,
Yes, I'm proud.
and you should be proud of that. You should be very proud of that.
Yes, thank you,
Not
thank
too,
you.
not too people can say that. All right. So, with that being said, we had a football game here on Sunday. A lot better result than the game we talked about from the previous Monday. Simply dominating performance by the Buffalo Bills, routing the Las Vegas Raiders 38-10. I think a performance that, as a fan base, as analysts, as anything you got to do with the Buffalo Bills, that you wanted to be able to see this performance right here. Obviously, the title of this show is Bills Route Raiders and Allen's Bounce Back. I think that we knew that the spotlight was going to be on 17 this week, and
Absolutely.
how he responded. So with tonight, we're going to talk about, obviously, our leader Josh Allen, his performance versus the Raiders. We're going to talk about James. I already know you want to talk about this running game. Specifically, we talk about James Cook and the electric performance that he had. I think that something we ain't seen in Buffalo in quite a while. So we'll talk about that. We're going to mix in a little bit of Terrell Bernard. We have a report card that I want to do tonight. Just,
Got it.
obviously we're only 2 weeks in, but just what we're seeing, what grade we give him right now at this point in time. And I think the other thing is we want to talk about tonight is Matt Milano. Matt Milano is the guy that I think that we can both say we weren't too high on a couple years ago when the contract was coming up. But
I gotta listen. I gotta say this, JT. I was a leading candidate. Like, listen, let him walk, let him
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, how stupid do I look? My goodness, man, that dude is playing lights out.
You know what? Like I said, I was riding that boat with you, so I had a paddle on that boat. Hey, listen, the way I look at it, if we're going to keep our receipts for everything we say that's right, we're going to keep our receipts for what we say is wrong, too.
Absolutely.
So, we the Commanders, and I know you're not your topic. Just share your information, huh? Oh, okay. So either way, the Bills, Josh Allen had a hell of a performance this game. Obviously, the Bills dismantled the Raiders. The Raiders came out with, I thought, was one of the better scripted first drives I've seen in a while. Going down the field on the Bills really quickly, scoring, going up 7-0. The Bills responded, and after that first drive, it didn't seem like the Raiders got much of anything else going. I believe the Bills held NFL 2023 NFL leading rusher Josh Jacobs to -2 yards on the ground.
That was the first time in history the reigning Russian champion was held negative yards in the game. Correct?
Yes, it was. Yes,
Yeah.
it was. So, I mean, that's something that front seven and that defense as a whole should be extremely proud of. But jumping right into Josh Allen here. Obviously, like I said, we knew coming off that Monday night game versus the Jets, we needed to see a bounce back performance from him. We needed to see less recklessness. We need to see, as I want to word it, I want to word this correctly. We wanted to see him have a grasp on the game. That was the biggest thing. Having that grasp on the game, being in full control.
Yep, and I think that's what happened. JT is that he came out, man. You could tell, he's composed. He wasn't out of control. He wasn't pressing.
Mm.
He usually gets in trouble when he's pressing. where it's a big game, a big moment. And I'd rather have a quarterback like that. That's listen, they ready, they amped up, they want to attack the moment. There's
Mm-hmm.
somebody the complete opposite where they scared of the moment, right? Give me this all day where we got somebody that's jacked up. We got to kind of calm them down, not to force the ball to somebody who's just seeing ghost out there and won't throw the ball, right? I think we've had that during that drought. We've had those type of quarterbacks where Josh came out, man. He took what the defense gave him. He took the underneath stuff, which people have been asking for. He took what the defense gave to him, and man, the offense looked very, very, very smooth, man. They did.
And I like I said, this is what I've been looking for a couple years now. Like I think that the best stretch of football that Josh Allen has ever played, I think, was probably in which I think was that the 2021 season when we had the Chargers, the Rams, the Seahawks.
Yep. I was already know what she was gonna say. Yeah, that was stretch. That dude was going crazy.
And it was he was doing nothing insane. It was just taking everything that the defense gave you.
Yep.
And I think, do you think? Let me ask this question before I go a little bit further with this. Do you think that one of the reasons he doesn't take what the defense gives him is like say maybe I know you just said he is pressing, but you think he's trying to do too much of the time he just doesn't see it?
No, he believes in himself.
Hmm.
Crazy as it may sound, he believes in himself. He sees a throw, he be like, oh damn, I can make this throw. And
Hmm.
some of them he do, where that's what makes him special. And then the times where he don't, that's where you get those interceptions where people call careless or reckless, right? Um, but it's quite a few throws, man. And he fit them in there, and not too many people that ever have played this game can make those type of throws. So um, that's what makes him Josh Allen. That's what makes him special. I don't trip too much about the interceptions because I mean those are going to come with
Yeah.
somebody who plays this style.
Well, I mean, first of all, we throw the ball like 40 times a game. Okay, there's gonna be some interceptions thrown over a season when the quarterback is chucking that thing around probably over 500 times a year.
Yeah,
It's bound to happen. But I thought particularly in this game, took everything the defense gave him, utilized the running backs, utilized every person he had. I felt like within the offense, which I think is awesome. Obviously, Gabe Davis had 6 catches for 92 yards. Stephon
yep,
Diggs didn't blow you away with the yardage. Bought 7 catches, 66 yards. He got his touches. Dalton Kincaid, another good game with the rookie. 5 catches, 43 yards. James Cook, 4 catches at the back for 36 yards. You got Shakir for a touchdown on his 1 catch. Dawson Knox
yep,
only had 3 receptions, 10 yards. But he had a touchdown. Latavius Murray 2 catches. Deontay Hardy 2 catches. Reggie Gilliam a catch. So he utilized everybody that he had. So, and you're talking about 2, 3, 9 different receivers.
yeah. That's important. When you can spread the love, when you go into a game and you're playing the team and they're like, okay, usually it's two, three, maybe four different guys. Like, okay, we gotta account for them in the pass game. If you got to legitimately account for six guys, right? Dawson Knox, Kincaid, right? Then you got Gabe Davis, obviously Stephon Diggs, James Cook out the backfield, right? And then you look at a Hardy, you know. So he's somebody that you have to account for because you don't account for that dude, he could take it to the house. So you legitimately got six guys you have to account for in our pass game, and we haven't even Shakir. We haven't even dug into it deeper. And then Shreefield, they haven't even really used him yet. I got a feeling he's still going to have an impact on this offense. They haven't even used him yet, really. He's been out there, but he hasn't really
Right.
been effective yet, but he will be. So, man, it's exciting when you think about the potential of this offense and what we could be and what we're doing so far. It's so much more.
Right. And again, if you guys are watching this show and you like what you're watching, make sure you like, share, retweet, whatever platform you're watching or listening to this on. Just give us a like and a share, please. Let other people know about the show. And remember, it's brought to you by Checkers. But other than that, man, like I said, it's just, and honestly, too, let's give a shout out to Ken Dorsey. Okay, this is a guy that he caught a lot of flack and a lot of questions over the offseason. And I think now this would be what, as an offensive coordinator, 2 games. what's this, like game 19 now? Calling
Yeah,
plays.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, shout out to him too for drawing up everything and keeping the game plan basic for Josh to get on track here. Because, like I said,
But
obviously,
you do realize JT is only Bills fans and look at him that way around the league. He has a really good name and reputation.
you
That's
think
why
it's
I
only
thought he was going
Buffalo.
to be gone after this year.
You think it's only Buffalo fans.
Absolutely.
Mm,
I thought he was going to be gone last year. If you remember, I don't think I don't think he's going to be around too much longer. He's going to get a head job.
yeah. You know what I was thinking too? Not to get too far off topic watching that game, I actually had the same thoughts that you had about Ken Dorsey possibly being scooped up after this season as a head coach. Because we, like I said, it's the offensive mind of the league. Things happen. Candidates jump, especially offensive side of the ball, a lot faster than coaching the defensive side of the ball when it comes to these jobs. I was looking at the other side of the field and I said, what if Josh McDaniels would be in the running for the Buffalo Bills if he was fired by the Raiders? Just throwing that out there now. I like to throw things out there. Just saying.
It will be interesting as how him and Josh Allen will get along.
Yeah, yeah. I tend to think that moving forward, Josh is gonna need somebody that's gonna be a little bit tougher.
I think the next guy is Joe Brady.
You think so? I don't know on that one yet. I am still unsure on Joe Brady. Now, obviously, we know the Buffalo Bills like John McDermott likes to keep everything in house, preferably. But
Yep.
I'm not sure. I'm still wondering on Brady. I'm Joe Brady. So we'll see. But no, other than that, man, I thought Josh was just under control, and I think that's what we wanted to see. The biggest thing I thought from that game: 3 rushing attempts, 7 yards.
Because that's what happens when you got guys that can run the ball. And we'll get to that.
That to me was the most important part of this. He did what he had to do. He got rid of football. He eliminated the hits, the pass rush hits, and obviously shout out to the offensive line. Did a hell of a job. Did a hell of a job on Max Crosby and keeping him contained all game as well. Okay? But he eliminated the hits, he eliminated the mistakes. He eliminated also put himself in positions for potential mistakes. Because we talked about this from last year of sometimes those balls getting tipped, sometimes those balls almost getting intercepted. He didn't even that didn't even happen this game. This was as damn near perfect of a game as you're gonna get.
Yeah. I totally agree. This is one of the more safe games he's played.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're going to see this style because he's going to take more chances. I think we'll see this more often,
Mm-hmm.
but he's a guy who takes chances. So I think we'll see that a little bit more. Um, and I just want to comment real quick on Dame, right? Real quick about why not he don't think course Dorsey will get a job next season.
Mm-hmm.
So what fans get caught up with is when you hire an offensive coordinator, right? Dable got that job in New York not based off of his play calling. If y'all remember, Bills fans wanted his head quite a few times because of some of the games he called.
I
Let's
do.
not forget that. The reason a head coach is a leader of men. A head coach is somebody that's really prepared. A head coach is somebody that can make sure his team is always prepared. In this last year, one thing you've never heard said about the Bills offense is that they didn't look like they were prepared for the game. They weren't
Mm-hmm.
prepared for the moment. If the players perform is different than if they're prepared. They've always been prepared offensively under Ken Dorsey. That's the characteristics of a great head coach. Just like right now, Dable's succeeding because Dable was always prepared. His
Yep.
preparation, they always spoke about his preparation. Ken Dorsey has been thought highly of in the NFL since he's been a player in the NFL. And everybody knows he's always been prepared. He's always been smart. He's always been a good leader. That's been something that dating back to the U when he played in the NFL and he was a quarterback coach. So these are things that always have been, um, said about him. And he's been a head coaching candidate, somebody viewed to be a head coach since he's in Carolina. Let's not remember he interviewed for the offensive coordinator job here years back, and he didn't
Yeah.
get it. So
That's when they
people
gave
forget
it.
that.
Was that when they gave it to Dable, right?
No, they get who was it before Dable? It was
My man there. Oh
he
God.
was here for a year.
Oh, I can't think of his name. I can see his face. Keep going. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it was that time. He interviewed for the job, he didn't get it. And then he went to Carolina. He went back to Carolina and continued doing his thing. So he has a reputation, and people have been looking at him for years in the NFL as a potential head coaching candidate, a high potential guy, what we call hypo, a
Mm.
hypo guy for years. So this isn't like he just popped on the scene 2 years ago. He's been a hypo guy for years that NFL teams have been looking at as a head coaching candidate in the future.
Well, I would say this. It was Rick Dennison. That's who you're looking for. There's Rick Dennison.
Yep, he came from
Yeah,
Denver.
he was terrible. He was completely awful. I know Jake Hudlin asked, was he prepared against Cincinnati? I think he was. I mean, if you go back and I look at
Yep.
the film from the look specifically for the Kurt Warner film breakdown from the Bills' divisional playoff loss to the Bengals, the play calling was prepared. The players were not, and I think that's where the issue with Stephon Diggs came is the people around him were not prepared for that game. But if you ever get a chance, please go on YouTube, look up the Kurt Warner film breakdown from the Bills Bengals game, and you'll see where Kurt highlights. It's actually very, very educational as far as how that game went and why that game went the way it went. So Dame also asked, why does Dorsey get so much criticism then? I think James just said, it's pretty much from Buffalo fans. It's not really outside of the
You
716.
Yeah, you don't hear a ton of high IQ football people criticizing Dorsey. Fans, us as fans, right? The first thing we're gonna do is look at the OC. That's just what it is. Greg Roman, when he is here, the first thing Bills fans did whenever it's a bad game, Roman sucks. No, he don't. I mean, he didn't suck here. Greg Roman was a good OC. That's just how it is.
Yeah, and
You look at
and
the
two
quarterback and you look at the OC.
and two, you know what? Sometimes it's not always going to be great games for OCs. It's not going to be always great games for the offense. But you want to be able to call a good enough game to get the win.
Yeah.
Now this particular Sunday, the Bills could have left. They could have left 24 points on the board and still won this game. That's how good both sides of the ball played. And actually, all as you say, James, normally all three phases played pretty well
Yep.
on this particular day, which is what you're looking for. So, other than that, I hope moving forward, this is the Josh Allen we see because this is boring football. Okay, this is 100% boring football, but boring football wins you a lot of important games. We saw the Kansas City Chiefs win actually went against the Eagles last year, pretty much playing boring football in the second half. Now they made some explosive plays, but it was taking everything the defense gave them. That's
Yep.
how you win a lot of football games, especially late in the season and postseason. I think second of all, it keeps Josh upright. It keeps Josh healthy. Now we've never really went through an injury scare with Josh outside of the elbow last year, and I know once we saw that and we heard that he possibly could have torn his Tommy John and he could be out. Yeah, all our hearts dropped because we know if we
We
lose
had the
17,
shoulder injury too. Was that the Raiders?
it was Raiders. Yeah, it was that was against Raiders. That was against Raiders. Yeah,
Yeah, when that was a few years ago and he hurt the
mm-hmm.
shoulder.
Yeah,
It's not throwing shoulder.
that was in Vegas.
Yep.
That was in Vegas, right? So we know without 17, we're not going to win a whole lot of ball games. Or even if we do win enough games to get to the playoffs, we're not going much further than that. That's just the truth about it. Let's just be real about it, okay?
Yep.
So I thought that this right here is a controlled game plan. You get everybody involved. I know Ray Cruz asked a good question. He wanted us to elaborate on how defenses are scheming against the Bills receivers. Are they still putting the CB1 on Gabe Davis and CB2 and safety on Diggs? That worked last year against the Bills, or do you see them respecting the Bills receivers more? That's a really good question.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's too early to say with 2 games.
Mhm.
I can't really give an answer to that. JT, you may be able to. Would it be in 2 games?
It's early.
Yeah, it's so
It's
early,
early.
man. It's so early.
I think it was easier to do it last year because You had enough film going to last season to know what Dawson Knox was going to give you. There was
Yep.
enough film to know what Isaiah McKenzie was going to give you. It's different now because you don't. There's not enough film on there of how the Bills are going to use Deontay on Hardy. There's not enough film to say what Kincaid's going to do within this offense. You know what I mean? Sherfield was on his team last year. And you didn't. The biggest thing is you didn't have the speed out of the backfield, which brings me to my next topic. I'm talking about that guy in the backfield, James Cook. You didn't have that speed in the backfield. This is something different. You said on the phone to me the other day, you said the Bills ain't had this type of speed in the backfield since CJ Spiller. And I said I agree with you. The only difference is CJ Spiller has straight line speed, and this dude he just a burner, left, right, north, south, whatever you want to call it. He's a burner.
Yep.
Listen, this is your topic. This is your
You already
topic.
know.
It's running backs. James Cook, what are you seeing? Because he literally lit the Raiders up.
I was tough on him last year. I didn't like how he ran the ball in between the tackles. He didn't look like a running back to me. I ain't gonna say he didn't look like a running back. He didn't look like somebody else prepared to be the guy. He looked very unsure. He didn't look very confident running in between the tackles. I had a lot of question marks, right? I thought he could do it, but I thought it would take him a little bit.
Mm.
Boy, oh boy, that guy has made a impressive improvement. He's running the ball effectively in between the tackles. He's running the ball hard in between the tackles. He's making people miss. He's catching the ball out the backfield. That dude can play. He actually is looking like he could be elite.
Yeah.
He's looking like he could be an elite running back. He continues to improve. And he's everything the Bills wanted CJ Spiller to be. The first 2 games of the year, that's how he's looking. He's everything that we wanted CJ Spiller to be. I'm hoping it continues. He's everything CJ Spiller wanted. They wanted CJ Spiller to be. CJ Spiller can consistently run the ball in between the tackles. That was his problem.
Mm.
You know,
Good.
he couldn't do that. And speed, everybody's fast. The guys on the defense are just ridiculously fast. And you're not just going to outrun everybody, right? Look at Chris Johnson. People look at him as a speed dude, but that dude ran the ball great in between the tackles. That's one of my favorite backs ever. But, James Cook, he's given us, dude, a ton of production. I didn't think would happen. I honestly, at one point, I was like, Damon Harris might end up being the guy getting more of the carries in the game. It may be
Right.
Damon Harris getting 10 carries, Cook getting 7 or 8. Boy, oh boy, was I wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong because this dude is looking legit. And this trio is something special, man. Damon Harris, Latavius Murray, that's real, and that's gonna keep these dudes fresh. You got everything you need in that backfield, man. Bills fans who've been wanting to run the ball. Look, we were able to finish the game with running the ball. Without using Josh Allen, we haven't been able to do that effectively. Man, I'm excited about what I see in this backfield. We have 3 guys that can play some football. Latavius Murray, at the end of the season, is going to be fresh. He's not going to get a ton of carries, but that dude's going to wear defenses out. And Damon Harris, he's going to have a 100-yard game this year or 2. He's going to have a game where he really get flowing. Damon Harris is going to crush it, and Cook is going to do what Cook do. So I'm excited about what I've seen out this backfield. But that dude you put up there, he's electric, man. That dude is electric.
You know what? It's funny because, like I said, he obviously had 17 carries for 123 yards. He averaged 7.2 yards a carry this game. Not the first game we've seen him have a high yards per carry average. But it's obviously being a starter, it was more volume. Total, he had 21 touches for $159 if you include the receiving yards. And I just want to put this out there. James Cook last season, and we know that obviously his playing time was somewhat limited last year. Obviously due to his struggles and I would say pass protection last year, and he just seemed uncomfortable in the passing game last year, which I think he's a lot more comfortable than he was last year at this point in time. Now, just want to put this out there. Last year, James Cook had 21 receptions for 180 yards. That's what he had at the running back position last year for receiving total. This season, he has 8 receptions for 53 yards already. He'll surpass. And mind you, yeah, I get it. He wasn't a starter. There was actually some point in times too where there was 3 backs, where it was Devin, Zach Moss, and him being active. But just put it out there, you can see the usage. So what I think here is that the Bills definitely hit a home run on this, and for I think for 3 reasons. A, you got a back who was different than any back you've had in the last couple of years.
Yep.
That excluding Shady McCoy. Okay, Shady's just a Hall of Famer. That's just totally different. But a guy that's just speed. As John Madden, you say speed kills. The second thing is, not only did you get a running back who is electric and extremely fast, and he is light. You can tell he's definitely got stronger in the offseason, but he's still light. But you have a running back who didn't have a lot of wear and tear on him coming out of the college game.
Yep. Yep.
You got to think.
That's gonna be key. That's gonna be key. Is keeping him fresh. I think that complimentary back is gonna always be key with him.
And you got to think, like when the Bills got Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, those guys were damn near 4-year starters. Devin was a 4-year starter. That's 4 years of a lot of work. Yeah. Zach was a 3-year starter. And all-time leading rusher at Utah. That's a lot of usage. Yeah. Especially when you're talking about if you're going to give somebody a second contract at that position. That matters. Where they're coming from matters. And I think the third concept was this. You have an all-pro older brother that he can lean on in the offseason to get him right. I cannot say that enough. It is super important that Dalvin Cook is his older brother, because you can see the difference from James in year 1 to James in year 2. And I'm not even just saying year 1 to year 2. I can definitively say James Cook in week 7, 18 in 2023. I mean 2022, 2023 to week 2 in 2023, 2024.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of time between. And he's a totally different back. And that's because he has someone to lean on to say, hey, you need to do A, B, and C to get you right. That workout group that they have in Florida, that Devin Singletary is a part of, that Dalvin is a part of, that James is a part of. Like you say all the time, James, you win in this game in the offseason.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. All the guys that put that work in, they reaping the benefits of that right now. So he put work in, man. Point blank period.
Yeah. I want to talk about just a little bit about the other backs too. I thought that, like you said, the complimentary piece of Latavius Murray being that big nasty guy. I'm gonna come in there. I'm coming in for a couple minutes. My 5-6 carries, I'm gonna stick my head in and I'm gonna run right through you. That's huge. Damian Harris, you don't know what you're gonna get. He may go through you, he may go around you.
Yep.
But he coming. And we even had a kickoff return from Damian Harris for 41 yards.
Yep.
So once again, being more creative. I think we said before the season began, I can't remember if we said it or not, but I think we did predictions for James Cook, and I think I had him a little bit less than 1,000. And I think you had him over 1,000.
Yeah, I think he'll get over 1,000.
I think you're gonna be right on this one. I think he's gonna rush for at least 1,100, 1,200, depending on his usage.
JT, think about this. If the man get another 120-something yard game, that's right there. Those 2 games alone, go have him at 250. Like, honestly, he may go 12, 1,300.
It's very possible. I wanted to give you this stat because I knew that you would appreciate this, right? So I was looking up to see what his rush direction was. So off the left tackle, left end, 10 attempts for 61 yards. So 6.1 yards and 4 first downs rushing off behind Deion Dawkins, big Deion Dawkins over there. For you Deion Dawkins detractors, that stat don't lie, okay?
Yeah.
Be, right between the left tackle, three carries, 12 yards. Left guard, 4 carries, 9 yards. So obviously we're getting into the Connor McGovern area right there between Deion and Connor. Midline, which would be right between McGovern and Mitch Morris, 2 carries, 13 yards, 6.5 yards a carry. Between Morris and Torrance, 6 carries for 15 yards. And right tackle spot, 1 carry, 36 yards. He busted outside. So obviously you can see him hitting those edges is a big problem for teams. When he hit that pay dirt and he stick that foot in the ground and he get around that corner, that's a problem. How much?
He's
Let me
electric.
ask you. Let me ask you a question. How much pressure when you hear those numbers that put on the defense?
A ton of pressure because you got somebody that can take it to the house. I mean, you like listen. We gotta contain, man. We gotta contain. Sorry, I got blow my allergies kicking my butt, but you gotta contain, man.
Mm. No, and you're 100% right. You do have to contain. And my thing is, if you break containment, or I should say this. I'm sorry. Let me correct this. Right, when you're in contain, and this go back to Ray Cruz's question earlier. When you're in contain, when Josh is running RPOs, and you have to worry about this kid hitting pay dirt on you, it holds the defense. If it's holding the defense, then it's going to open up more passing windows. Because just so happens if you're extra aggressive and you come off that edge and you don't hold contain running after 17,
Lights out.
lights out. Good night. Good night and goodbye. And as Chick Hearn used to say, put the butter on ice because you ain't going to catch him. He gone. And that it's in itself is an element that this offense did not have.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you just don't get that element with him. You get that element with multiple people now. So
It's like think about how many different what we can do with just the running backs alone. It's so many different things we can do. Dude, you got dudes that can be physical. You can mix it up so much. There's so many different things you can do. And then even with Damon Harris, even though he can be physical, that dude can run. Like you miss a couple tackles, the band playing.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
literally, like it can get real.
And you know what? I said it before the season. Dalton Kincaid is not the greatest in run blocking. But I specifically
He's not too
said
bad, man.
no.
He's not too bad.
But I specifically said this. It's different when you have Dalton Kincaid blocking in the slot and blocking a 200 or 190 pound cornerback than it was having Cole Beasley or John Brown or Isaiah McKenzie blocking at 190 pound cornerback.
Yeah.
When he locks in and he gets his hands on that guy, he's going to move him. Why? Because football physics. He's 6'5", 250 pounds. You're moving.
Yeah.
You're moving.
You are. You are.
That's a different type of person in the slot blocking than what we've seen in the past.
100% agree.
So
100% agree.
it's just something that you have to look at that. So when we talk about scheming against this team is totally different. There's no way you could scheme the 2023-2024 Buffalo Bill offense any way in the same manner that you could in the past.
Yeah. 100% agree. I mean, it's a lot of different. This offense look completely different if you're scheming against it. I mean, think about this. You're scheming, right? And I love Singletary. You know, he's one of my favorite players, right?
Absolutely.
But when you scheme like, okay, we got a James Cook and Damon Harris, them dudes can, they get you. So that's a whole different outlook. Then you go receivers, a lot more speed in that room.
Absolutely.
Right? You can run a shallow cross. One of them dudes catch that crossing route, turn it up and gone. So then Kincaid, he changes the game in the tight end room. and then we still got Quentin Morris who has made some plays, and obviously Dawson Knox. This team looks more different than what people realize when you're opposing teams.
You know what? Dame Wright asked the question with the Bills running 12 personnel as their main formation. Do you think Knox and Kate will have over 50 receptions apiece for the season? I
The way
personally
it's
think.
looking, like yeah,
You
the way
think
it's
both
looking,
have?
yeah,
I think Kincaid's gonna have like 60 to 70. Knox is gonna get. I don't know if Knox will get to 50. It's gonna be close, but I
I
think he'll
think
at least
so.
have 40.
I think he'll be at that 50. Because
And
you know Knox is gonna have that one game where he have 8 to 10 catches where it's just like
yep,
he's gonna have that. He's gonna have that.
he's a roller coaster. But
Yep.
now you have the more consistent Kincaid to take the pressure off. Let's just think about this, right? And we're talking about this offense. We literally just went from begging for people like Zach Ertz and any tight end that we thought could help us hit the open market, right?
Yep.
To possibly a tight end room that could put up a combined 100 to 10, 100 to 20 catches this season. So when we talking about scheming against this team, that outside the receiver position in the running back position, that has totally changed as well. And
Absolutely.
that in itself is a problem. And you know when that becomes even more of a problem? When it's snowing outside, when it's cold, when it's 10 degrees. You got big body people that can catch the football. And not just catch the football, these guys can catch the football and run with it after the catch.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's problematic, extremely. So that's a good question, Dame. I appreciate it, and I hopefully we answered it for you. I think it's possible that they have. I think Kincaid's going to have 60, 65, maybe 70.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. So moving on, I want to go over to Terrell Bernard really, really quick before we go to Matt Milano conversation. 2 weeks, Terrell Bernard. Just want to give you some numbers here. Has I think? Let me get this right for you. Through 2 games, Terrell Bernard has 17 combined tackles, 7 solo tackles, 12 assisted tackles, which leads to it, which I think actually is. I want to say that's first in the league as far as assisted tackles go. All right. Um, he's only missed 1 tackle so far this season, and I think that in the passing game we see a big difference between him and Tremaine Metmans. He's definitely more instinctful
Yeah.
than Tremaine, and
Yeah.
he's very twitchy and quick.
Agreed.
What would you give Terrell Bernard a grade through 2 games? Obviously, it's a long NFL season, but
I, I get it. So right now, as we sit here, I'm gonna say a solid B.
okay.
I'll give him a solid B. Uh, he hasn't. You haven't seen any really a lot of plays where it's just like the moment looked bigger to him. He's lost. Don't get me wrong, but it's like okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Let's continue to progress and see what we got. We may have something. So I'll give him a solid B.
I'm with you. I'm like B minus that area. I'd surprise say B minus right now, just because obviously the Jets ran all over us. It's not fully his fault, but he was a part of it.
Yes.
The biggest thing is he just went. You went against a veteran quarterback last week in Jimmy Garoppolo, and I really wanted to see how he responded, because veterans usually have the ability to move you around with their eyes, move you around with formation, pre-snap motion, different things like that. And I wanted to see how he was going to react to that. Obviously, we only got 4 plays of Aaron Rodgers, but the biggest thing I wanted to see how he reacted. He seems to be in the right spot at the right time the majority of the time. If he's not making the play, he's in the right gap. In
Yep.
coverage, he's right there on top of these tight ends. So I
Yep.
think that I have to go back to the offseason now. And I have to ask this question. The Bills showed interest in a few veteran middle linebackers, but as reports came out, maybe they didn't show as much interest as we thought they were showing, and they were just, turning the wheels a little bit.
Yeah.
Our guy Backbone, he swore up and down all last season, up and
Yep.
down. Terrell Bernard will be the starting linebacker in the Buffalo Bills.
Yes. Yes, he did.
I wasn't with him on that one. Come
Me
on.
neither.
I wasn't with him. And when they brought Terrell Dodson back on a 1 year deal, and they didn't seem to make a big, they didn't seem to care to make the big splash in the draft for the middle linebacker. They didn't go hard with some veterans that we knew that were available. And then we get to camp, and reports are coming out that Bernard's looking okay. But then he hurts his hamstring, and that's it. We see nothing from him in the preseason. We didn't even see him in the preseason at all. And
Yeah.
he's named the starter. Do you think that Sean McDermott had him tapped as the starting middle linebacker, possibly pre-free agency or at some point during free agency, but he just wasn't going to give it to him? He was purposely putting him in competition with Tyrell Dodson, but his plan was to always start Terrell Bernard as his middle linebacker.
I think they had a plan to not overspend at the position. If somebody fell in their lap that was a veteran that was pretty cheap, I think they
Mm-hmm.
would have took it. But
Uh-huh.
I think they were perfectly content with going with him as their middle linebacker. I don't think they were so like, okay, we're definitely going with him. I think they had a plan in place. Like, listen, this is the dollar amount we'll spend. Anything over that, we'll just go with Bernard. We're gonna play the young guy and let him play. I think that was the plan.
All right, next question for you. You've been on these NFL practice fields, okay? You've been on these fields. As fans and analysts, we don't get to see how practice goes down every day. We don't get
Yeah.
to see what a defensive coordinator gets to see. We don't get to see what that linebackers coach gets to see. We don't know what they're saying behind the scenes. We're not privy to that, right? And they're not going to tell the media. Do you think Terrell Bernard could have been tapped since last year to be the middle linebacker from just practices of what they were seeing and the growth they saw from probably training camp last year to all the way to the week 19 divisional round loss to Bengals? Say, listen, he's growing. This is our guy.
Yeah, they probably took that year to groom him because a lot of times, guys, physically, a lot of guys just ready, right? They're ready. It don't be the physical part, it be the mental part. So it probably tells me that mentally they were really grooming him to make that change because he was a Will, if I'm not mistaken. Or was he a Sam? Well,
Yeah,
anyway, he
he
was outside
he was
linebacker
a
in
mix.
college.
He was a mix.
Yeah. So you get a guy like that mentally prepared to know what you want, then you see how he carry himself. You get a chance to get to understand, like, okay, can he be our middle linebacker? Can he take the load mentally and physically? What can he do? And then once you're familiar with him, you groom him for that. And then you like, hey, listen, sink or swim, you know. And then you go get a insurance policy in the veteran, and then you play ball. And then this is what Kansas City did last year. They just let their rookies play. They let their young guys play, and what happens happens. You either gonna beat a guy or you're not. This is what the Bills fans always say. Well, we don't do this. We doing it now. We doing it now. Kincaid is playing. Bernard is playing. These young guys are playing.
Yeah.
Benford is playing. Our young guys are playing. The Bills are putting these guys in position to see what they really can do. They putting them out there and letting them play. I love it.
And I'm glad to see it because I think that we've been saying for the last couple of years were they stunting the growth of some of these players by being overly cautious. And I think they were. And I think they're realizing that now.
Yep.
And but no, I think that our guy Backbone was correct on this one. I think Bernard they knew he was the guy by the end of last season. And they knew they were gonna roll with. Um it don't seem like they even made much of an effort to re-sign Trayman Edmonds either. To me.
And remember I said it. I said the decision is going to be this: who you want to pay, Ed Oliver, or you want to pay Tremaine. I said that last year. You only was going to pay one of them. As soon as they let Tremaine walk, I told you they was going to pay Ed Oliver. I knew it. You can't let both of your first round pick defensive players. You just cannot do that, man. You
Yeah,
got
listen.
then you had no choice but to sign him to an extension because now you saying I messed up on two first round picks on defense. You can't do that, man. I don't care what nobody say. You're gonna pay this guy. You want him to continue to develop. If you don't think he's not a finished product, you want him to keep developing, keep building. And right now as we speak, it's looking like a very smart move.
Yeah, and act very cap savvy move.
Yep.
Just think about. I want you to think about this defense as a whole, okay? And one day we're gonna have this conversation down the line. If this continues, if this is the best defensive unit that Sean McDermott has had since he's been in Buffalo, like I said, we'll wait a couple weeks on that. We don't want
Yep.
to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I want you to really think about this. If this is, you have Christian Benford on a low round pick, rookie contract. Terrell Bernard on a non first round pick, rookie contract starting. Greg Rousseau on a late first round pick, starting. There's not a lot of money tied up in some guys who are going to be playing and making a difference and impact for you for the next 2 to 3 years.
Well, think about how you're gonna pay those guys and you're gonna replace them. Think about this. When it's time to pay Benford or Elam, or I personally think both of them are going to be the future. That's when Trey White money start to come off the books.
Yeah.
When it's time to pay Rousseau, Von Miller money come off the books. You can still afford, and then those safeties, they're not going to be expensive eventually. That's when you can be able to pay. If Benford is your guy, you can pay Benford and Milano. So if you really think about how they set it up, it's not cap suicide. I love the way they structure things and they align things. So,
And your quarterback is already paid.
yep.
So, I got early asked, do you all think he has done enough to keep Kirksey on the bench when he's up to speed on the defense? I'd say yeah.
Yeah. To date, 2 games in, as from what we seen, yes. Kirksey there is insurance. Kirksey knows that. He wasn't brought in to be a starter. He's insurance.
Yeah. Do you think Kirksey could bump somebody else off this roster?
Yes. Dotson.
You think you put Dotson off the roster?
Yes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. I I can't argue with you there. So let's see. We got another question here before we move on to the final topic. Ray Cruz asked, keep on with the young guys. Elam, well, you just answered that question. You think they're going to be a future, so you still think that there's going to be a plan in place for Caillou Elam past
Absolutely.
this
Be
season.
patient with it. Be patient with it. You'll be there.
Ray Cruz also asked, Poyer playing his way out. He going after this year, easy out in the contract. I don't, you know what? I don't know. I think that both of these safeties could possibly be replaced after this year. I think if you had to take one out of the two, Poyer could be it. It really depends because if Poyer stays healthy all season and Micah Hyde keeps getting these little nagging injuries, I don't know. I'm lost in the safety situation. I couldn't tell you what
Well,
they're gonna do.
and you know what else is very possible? They both take a pay cut to stay.
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna get paid. Nobody else is gonna really pay them.
No.
At the age, nobody else is gonna really. The Bills, I mean, it's gonna be very interesting with that. It's multiple different things can happen.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be like I said. I would prefer to keep one of them. Doesn't matter which one you keep. I would prefer to keep one of them and bring a high drafted rookie in. So that's what I prefer. But we'll see what happens. But that brings us to our last topic of the night. I dare to ask the question: is Bills linebacker Matt Milano joining the linebacker elite tier within the NFL? A lot of people aren't going to ask this question. A, he plays in Buffalo. B, he plays with Josh Allen and on the defense with Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poole, all these big names. And the third part is he's just a quiet guy. Not a lot of interviews, not a lot of content. He's not loud at all. His teammates tell you that they barely hear anything from him. Doesn't do a lot of interviews. Do you think he's getting overlooked and he doesn't get the respect he deserves? Is he joining the elite tier, I guess?
He's already an elite tier. He's already there. If you are pro, you get the respect you deserve. Because at the end of the day, as a player, you want the respect from your peers and the people around you, right? If you are pro, you elite. He's an elite talent. Once again, he's just quiet. That's all. But he is elite, man. That dude is elite, flat out elite. And I'm happy we got him. I'm so happy I was wrong about him. He's a baller.
You don't see people continually get better like that. Like you can honestly say he's gotten better every year in his career so far.
Yeah.
Every single season, he's gotten better.
Seems bad.
And you know what the thing is too. Right now, like I say, I'm not huge in the PFF grade things as such, but he has a 90 coverage grade.
That's ridiculous.
He has a 90 coverage grade for a linebacker. Seriously.
I just got to shake my head at that. Point blank, period. He is elite.
In the interception he got from Josh Jacobs, this is a linebacker going over the top of a running back and snatching the ball from him. Not only just snatching the ball from him, but then bringing it back like a receiver and then attempting to run with it.
Well, let's remember, this isn't just any guy snatching the ball from. We're talking about an elite running back.
An elite running back. And let's not forget, it ain't necessarily fair. Matt Milano is a converted safety. So not only is this a guy who's getting better every year, but this is a guy who came into the NFL and switched positions.
Yeah.
And moved to all
and
pro.
It's balling.
I don't think we mention that enough. I don't think that's talked about enough that he was a safety at Boston College. Listen.
Well,
this may have been part of the decision of why they felt they could let Tremaine Edmonds walk. Because we got Batman and Robin, right, at our linebacker position, Edmonds and Milano.
Yep.
A lot of us thought that Batman was Tremaine Edmonds.
We could have been wrong.
Oh, could we have been wrong? Batman may have been Matt Milano. And they knew that they needed Terrell Bernard could be his Robin. Or whoever they put next to him could have been his Robin. One of the biggest improvements I've seen in Matt Milano over the course of his career is his level of physicality.
Yeah. Yeah. That dude, he brings it. He brings it. He's quiet. He's not quiet on the field. He brings a lot of energy, man. I'm just happy. Once again, I'm happy I was wrong. I'm happy we got him. Thank you, Bills. Thank you, Brandon Beane. Thank you.
Do you think his pay matches his play?
No, he should be paid more. He's underpaid. I think they're gonna extend him soon. He's gonna get extended.
Even if he don't ask for it, they're gonna do it. Just because it's the right thing to do.
They're gonna take care of him.
By the end of this NFL season, barring no setbacks, no injury, things as such, do you think Matt Milano will be a household name?
Yes, I think so. It depends on how far we go. That's how big his name will get. Depends on all football fans know him, but even the part-time fans will know him if we really, really go far. So let's see what happens.
Okay. Defensive Player of the Year candidate?
Absolutely. Right now, absolutely.
You think he will? You think he's gonna make it to the finish line? He'll be there at the end.
I think he will be. I think he will be. Will he get it? That's a different story. But I think his name will be in the discussion.
Especially, I mean, the biggest thing about Matt Milano at this point in time, he's causing turnovers.
Big time. That's an understatement. He's causing turnovers and headaches. He's giving out a lot of headaches too.
I just want to let you know that if you joined this late and you didn't hear what we said about his 90 grade for pass coverage, when targeted right now, he's allowing the QB rating is 46.5 when targeted him right at this current moment.
Crazy.
So that, when you're trying to throw this ball to tight ends and running backs, especially running backs out the backfield, You have a guy that can pick you off and cause a turnover, possibly on your own side of the field. That's a headache. And now let's just not forget that you got Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Trey White, Christian Benford behind them, and you're soon gonna have Von Miller coming at you. Greg Rousseau is coming at you. Ed Oliver's playing strong, and Leonard Floyd is just being Leonard Floyd.
Yep.
That's a major issue, and he's capitalizing. When you have a player that can capitalize on any mistake you make, and I will say this at this point in time, if you play around with Matt Milano, he's going to make you pay. And you know what? He ain't just started doing this. He's always made offenses pay if you made a mistake throwing the ball his way.
Oh yeah, he gonna make you pay big time. He's picking it off. He causing a fumble. He's breaking it up. He's doing something to help out the team, our team.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say yes. I know you saying yes. He's an elite. You're saying he's elite tier already. I'm gonna say yes. He is. And I think that we'll both say if this continues, he's going to be in your defensive player of the year candidates at the end of the season. So I'll take one more question here. And actually, this is a good question. Rick Cruz says, how are you ranking the AFC East teams this far in our reality? You want to go first? You want me to go first here, James?
Bills, Miami, New England, Jets.
Okay. I got exactly the same thing as you. I got exactly the same thing as you.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. There is a possibility that Miami could steal this AFC East this year. They could steal this the AFC East title.
Yeah.
Miami is a dangerous football team, and I don't think that Tua gets the respect he deserves for the quarterback. I think he's in the. I'll be honest with you. I think he's in the elite tier. By the end of the season, he will be an elite tier of quarterbacks. Okay.
Absolutely.
Barring
he'll be up there with when you talk about great quarterbacks. He'll be up there.
Barring no injuries. Obviously, we know there's concussion history there, and that can simply derail your season or derail a career as well. But outside of that, Tua's going to be in this elite quarterback conversation. And then you have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. It's just a track meet out there.
Absolutely.
Now the Patriots showed a little something on Sunday Night Football there with kind of trying to slow down Tyreek Hill. And just like Stephon Diggs, you're never going to stop number 10. You're never going to stop number 14. You can only hope to contain them for as long as you can. And in reality, even if you contain them most of the game, the odds is there's probably going to still come make one or two big plays on you in crunch time if the game is close.
Yep, exactly.
And that's why they get paid the big bucks. As far as New England goes, New England will always be a tough out.
They never going to fold.
Oh, they fold against Buffalo. For whatever reason, they fold against Buffalo. Or maybe it's just Buffalo and Sean McDermott. They enjoy, and I'll just be honest with you, they enjoy kicking Bill Belichick's and the Patriots' ass.
Yeah, for what all the years of suffering.
yeah. Like no, in all reality, Sean McDermott will always enjoy kicking Bill Belichick's ass more than he'll enjoy kicking Robert Saleh's ass or kicking Mike McDaniel's ass. Period.
Yeah. Mike McDaniel is climbing up on that list, though.
Oh, he's climbing. But Bill Belichick is the standard and has always been the standard. And for some of his peers, is considered the GOAT. I don't even think the Bills look at Miami as rivals right now.
Nah, probably not.
Actually, I don't think they look at anybody in that division as rivals. Not saying they take it for granted. I don't think they look at anybody as rivals, though, until someone proves them wrong. And this is Miami's years to try to prove them wrong and try to put a chink in the armor and be like, hey, we're here.
Yep, I agree.
So I'm with you with the same rankings. Once Aaron Rodgers went down that the Jets season is over. So if you're a Jets fan, you're watching this, or you're an AFC East fan, you're watching this, you guys might as well start preparing for next year unless you do something at the quarterback position. And honestly, even if you do something, it's not going to be the fit that Aaron Rodgers was. That team was
tailored it for him.
It tailored it for him, and now he's not there. Guys like Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard, they fit with him.
Yep.
They don't fit with other people sometimes. So the Jet season, they're done. And you know what? You saw the comment from Brees Hall the other day about the reason they lost is that he got 4 tears.
Yep.
Dissension, and that team is young. They're a very young team. Dissension is going to set in very quickly in that locker room because you had a bunch of young kids who celebrated success before it actually came.
Yeah.
As Dennis Green once said, if you want to crown their asses, then crown them. And the minute the Jets got Aaron Rodgers, not only were the media crowning the Jets, but people like Sauce Gardner, they was crowning themselves as well.
Yep.
And guess what? This is the NFL. It's still a man game. And as they say, bleep comes at you quickly.
Absolutely.
And at some point, they're going to be 4-5 or 3-6 or something like that. And they're going to be looking at each other like, who am I blaming? Because it ain't me.
100%. 100%.
It ain't me. So I mean that's just what I feel about the 4 AFC East teams. You know, Miami coming though. Like I will say this: if Miami makes that trade for Jonathan Taylor, and that's still gonna be on the table when he comes back off that pup list, they will be a Super Bowl contender this year. But if they pay him long term, they gonna mess up their trajectory.
It's already messed up what they did, but short term, they have a problem.
It's just like the Rams.
But the only thing about them, inclement weather, they're not the same team. No, you got issues. You got issues.
Well, the thing is, too, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to get off the air, but they're just like the Rams. It's either you going to go all in for these 2 years or you going to get it, because if you don't, it's a wrap.
Yep.
It's a wrap. So that's just why I rank the AFC East team. Give a little, and maybe every show we should talk about the AFC East just a little bit. Maybe we'll just talk about the AFC
Let's
East.
Do that. Let's do that.
We expand our horizon a little bit. Should we know a little bit more than the people think we may know?
We know a thing or two.
So other than that, man, any final thoughts? And actually, you know what?
Predictions for this week.
Yeah, we can do a prediction for this week, and I want you to give your game ball to whoever you give your game ball to for the Bills' victory for week 2.
All right, week 2 to wrap it up. My game ball is going to James Cook all day. James Cook had a heck of a game. Your game ball from me, from J Mal, James Cook.
All right. My game ball is going to go to the man behind with the plan, Ken Dorsey. Thank you for getting all 3 running backs involved and not having Sean McDermott almost have to put you in the chokehold to do so, like he had to do with Brian Dable a few times. Okay, you did it because you knew that's what you need to do. You need to make the game easier for your quarterback. You need to get your quarterback back on track. You got all 3 running backs involved in the game in the fashion that fits their styles. That's great play calling. That's great game planning. Let's keep this going forward. Keep it moving forward. I think that this offense right here, and I've been saying it all offseason, this offense is the most versatile and the best offense that has been in Buffalo since Josh Allen has been the quarterback.
Agree.
We don't, like you said earlier, you ain't seen all the moving parts yet. You ain't seen the perfect fits yet, but you will as the season goes along. So, kudos. My game ball goes to Ken Dorsey. Prediction for this week is Bills Commanders. J-Mal, what you got?
24-10. Actually, 31-10.
Yep. Wake up call for Sam Howell and the Commanders and Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go, well, you went 31-10. So, I'll go 35-17. I think the offense keeps it going. I think they get that young Commander defense a little bit of issue. I don't know if it's going to be a slow start for the Bills or not, But I will say this: do not take that Commander team lightly. They have
They
some. They
were
have some.
they can play.
Yeah, I don't think they're up to the Bills level yet. You know, it's a Sam Howell's third start, but you got some dogs in that defense. But I think ultimately the Bills are an elite team. The Commanders are up and coming team. And don't forget, you know what? Too, actually, I haven't promoted it, but I will be out in DC with Aaron Williams this weekend. So I'll be with Aaron. Aaron is, I guess he's restarting his, or we're doing one last episode of the Aaron Williams Tailgate Show. So I'll be assisting him with that out in DC area. I think we're going to be at Navy Yard or something like that on Friday night. So if you're in that area or you're traveling down, as I know a lot of Bills fans are going down there, stop, say hello, get on camera, give some. You know, I don't know what we're going to be doing. We and Aaron together. We'll throw some, give some stuff away. We're having a good time. If you ever been around Aaron Williams, you'll know he is a fun time. He's a fun guy to be around. So come out and enjoy it with us. But yeah, so if you guys are out there, I'll see you guys out there somewhere. I don't know if I'm going to the game though. I don't know if I'm going to the game. I'm actually thinking about shooting up on Sunday to that Ravens Colts game.
Ooh. Well,
So
whatever you do, make sure you stay safe and enjoy yourself. You know,
absolutely.
and everybody, don't forget, we back next Tuesday.
Yep.
Go Bills. Let's take care of business.
That's it. So other than that, go Bills. Bills bounce back game. Damn near perfect game from all three phases, as you can see. Move forward. Hopefully they keep this ball rolling. I'm your host, JTM. As very cool says, don't fall into a hole. You got my co-host, James Mallory. Soon to be Hall of Famer, James Mallory. We will catch y'all next time on Nothing Personal. It's just Buffalo. As always, thank you. Peace.